I was shocked when I found out how affordable these irons actually are. Mainly because no one in this country has probably heard of them, even though they're arguably one of the biggest brands in the name of golf. Well, that's not the best start to the review, is it? And if you watched my previous video, I played a few holes with these exact irons, and distance is exactly what they are. Very classic look, very old school, and to be fair, I think that's going to suit some of your guys' eyes. But the main premise of these irons was to make them feel like a forged iron, soft, buttery, yet still provide ultimate distance. And the jury's still out whether they actually were able to do that. And in part, I think they have. The lower lofted irons, i.e. the pitching wedge 9-8, do feel very soft off the middle of the face, whereas the 6 and 5 definitely have that more clickier effect. Probably because you're gonna feel that compression much more with a less lofted face. And they sold extremely well in Japan. Very much suited to the market, very forgiving, long distance, and have that forged stamp, even though maybe you don't have the same kind of forged feel. Oh, we'll take that. Ladies and gents, the Titleist VG3 irons. Even though I knew of their existence, I didn't know all too much about them, and exclusively sold in Japan. And as I mentioned at the start of this video, these are long distance cavity back irons. The easiest way to describe them is a Titleist AP3 distance with a forged AP2 feel. However, even though I think they look great and they are truly long, I'm still yet to be convinced that you get a forged feel from the face. Number one, just the general aesthetics of them. A lot more classic looking in terms of head design. Whereas to get the same feel, forgiveness, sound, you name it, you have to have more of that blade style P790 look. And even though the trend of golfers has definitely gone down that route, it doesn't necessarily suit everyone's eye. The bounce and the grind on the top of the irons is definitely suited for more of a player that's decent level of striking. Not necessarily a huge amount of camber on the bottom there for the people that do hit it heavy, but maybe you're a decent ball striker that's lost a bit of distance, or a new beginner that strikes the ball relatively well but still needs a bit of forgiveness with the tungsten weights out the toe and the heel. Not to mention, if you want to get unique and rare in this sport, it comes with a price tag, which these don't. Replay themselves are selling them for just over £300, 6 to pitching wedge. And to be honest, if you're looking at this iron set, you won't really need the 5 iron anyway. You go straight into a 4 or 5 hybrid. Now that's heavy out the toe. Gone an absolute mile. And we see this happen time and time again. You would have just seen TaylorMade release their burner mini driver head, very much paying homage to the TaylorMade burner back in the day with the bubble shaft and the burner head. And to be honest, it wouldn't surprise me in the future if we do see manufacturers go back to their more traditional designs, but with that new vamp of technology, which is essentially what these are here. Now let's talk about one of the biggest downsides of these irons, trying to get hold of them. And typically when you can't get hold of something in this game, it pushes the prices up. However, you look at the recently sold and what's listed at the moment, don't get me wrong, there's different head types. You can get more of a draw offset type of heads in these irons. But nonetheless, as you can see from the prices, it's around £40 a stick, £50 a stick. And for something that's big name like Titleist, a unique quality, forged, forgiving, long, I don't think that's really a bad price. The last downside is that even though they've got forged on the back of them, they don't feel forged. I mean, for the same kind of money, you could probably just get a Titleist AP3, have more selection in this country, i.e. shaft options or set makeup, 6 to pitching wedge, 5 to pitching wedge. And apart from the wedges, they're basically going to feel and sound exactly the same. But then that would be boring, wouldn't it? Have something that everyone else has in the bag. And that's why I like making these videos. I like finding unique finds that aren't especially expensive and giving you feel, confidence, distance, you name it. Because ultimately when it comes to irons, we have to trade 2 different variables. Distance and control. And that's why I think old irons are great, because ultimately there's years of different clubs that you can choose from. If you want ultimate control on the good shots, even if I pulled this blade massively left, it's still only going to go 160 yards. Whereas if I had this 7 hybrid, okay, ultimate forgiveness. If I duff it, hit out the toe, the heel, ultimately that's going to get up around the green. But if I hit this really well and pulled it left, well, it's going to go 210 yards. That's why we have things in the middle for different levels of golfer. Your cavity back, that ultimately is going to hit loads of bad shots, so need help getting to the green. And ultimately, when you get better as a golfer, you go down to a smaller head, more true lofted, because you're always going to hit it out the middle. Yet if you hit it left or right, you need to know that it's going to be pin high and not out the back of the green. And these are cranked up 30 degrees, I believe that they've been put at, meaning essentially this is a glorified 6 iron. However, that being said, when it comes to a very forgiving iron, this doesn't look like it. It's not as offset as what I've seen most player irons to be like in this profile, and it is classic looking, it is sharp looking, and to be honest, the prices that you can get them for, even if it's not the 2018 model, I think it's an outrageously good buy, even if it doesn't quite feel like a forged iron. If you like this video, you might like this video up here on the right hand side. Catch you guys later.